Welcome to Game Set Smash, the thrilling off-court destination where blowing things up is habit and tennis tea is spilled. We've got a very Aussie-themed episode, as you can imagine, with the first slam already underway, including a very special guest from Hofstra University, Division I men's head tennis coach Arielle Shuren, who, although is an Australian, does wear a very similar shade of blue on competition day. She joins us later for an exclusive interview and a Grand Slam smash you don't want to miss. Let's get the show started. Welcome to Game Set Smash. I'm your host, Leah Dimitrov, the brains behind and the beauty of this magical show in front of you. And we start off this week by congratulating Jordan Smith for winning the 1-point slam at the Aussie Open, becoming the first ever tennis player to win the Australian Open in just 6 points. That's less than 2 games for $1 million. Love me some modern day tennis tournaments. Also this week, Camilo Ugo Carabelli gave himself a haircut mid-match. It's certainly not the first time we've seen this happen, but I do dare say that he didn't trim enough for me to actually notice a difference. Viral moments from the Australian Open keep on coming as Sebastian Offner's score mishap in the second round of qualifying cost him his match against American Nishesh Basavaredi. I know I didn't pronounce that right. Let me do it one more time. Basavaredi. That's also probably not correct. Would appreciate someone correcting me here. In the meantime, Basavaredi sounds most appropriate and most fun. Looking ahead to the main draw, I know we received ample time from Stan Wawrinka, but I am still not mentally prepared for his last Australian Open, especially after finding out that not everyone, or should I say everything, is rooting for him to make it all the way. As part of our segment for this week's episode, I asked ChatGPT to predict the Australian Open, and let me tell you right now, ChatGPT is no friend to Stan Wawrinka. But before we reveal how AI predicts AO this year, let's check in with field reporter Leah, who is sitting with one of the few female head coaches of a Division I men's tennis program. Thank you, Leah. I am here with Arielle Shuren, who is a Division I men's head tennis coach at Hofstra University. She is badass, and she is here to tell us all about her coaching tips and her tennis journey and how she's using it to inspire the next generation of players and build a winning team. Welcome to the show. I'm so thrilled you're here.
I'm super excited to be here, and I hope I could be helpful, but again, thanks for having me.
Of course. So Arielle, tell me about your coaching background, how you ended up at Hofstra, and what inspires you to keep going with these young players.
I was coaching junior players, some of my friends who played at college, then they went on to play on the Pro Tour, so I was helping them out every time they came here, so kind of used New York as a home base. And then I started my collegiate coaching career at Rutgers University, and then I went to St. John's to be the assistant for the women's tennis. And then I started as the men and women's assistant coach for Hofstra University. And then later on that year, I got promoted to be the head coach for the men's team. I know this was something that I really wanted since the beginning and didn't think it would be possible, but dreams do come true. So it was a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication to get there. I've been coached by a lot of great coaches. I have a lot of mentors, and they've been a really big part of my life of why I want to be a coach, and seeing any player grow and develop and see them pursue something that, maybe they didn't think it was possible in the beginning, and then see them work at it and then achieve it. To me, that's like one of the biggest wins.
You are one of the few female head tennis coaches for men's Division I programs. First of all, that is props to you. But second, how are you helping combat that trend and gain that respect as a head coach?
It hasn't been easy, being out there, but a lot of the coaches and a lot of the teams that I've been facing, I've seen through my playing career, but it's knowing like not to back down, to have a presence. You don't take any crap from anybody, and I think I really have a good foundation from like my parents, my mentors, of standing up for myself and being confident in like who I am, and believing in like my coaching philosophy and things that I've learned. So anytime that I'm out there with my guys, it's always being direct, and that's what I've learned also throughout, not only just being at Hofstra, but also working with men's players and working with professional athletes. The more direct that you could be in getting your point across, there's no doubt, there's no second guessing. Like, I know what I say is true and valid, so I'm going to just portray that same like confidence and value to all my players and anybody that I'm coaching. So for me, it's like, yes, I'm a female coaching a Division One men's program.
Woo! That sounds great.
But it's not going to change who I am. So
Yeah.
I'm still going to be me, but I'm going to make sure that my presence is known by everybody.
That's beautiful. I'm a fan. Everyone here is going to be a fan if they don't know you already. What has been your favorite coaching moment at Hofstra University?
We were actually in our regional tournament and we were playing at Yale, and my players, it depends on how many people get into regionals, so not everybody gets to go and compete.
Right.
And I had my first doubles team playing, and we've never had a team qualify for super regionals, and my two seniors played lights out in this tournament, and each match they got better and better, and then they finally finished where we played Dartmouth at the end to determine which team was going to go and compete to super regionals. And it's just one set, and it's very quick, and it's no out scoring, so
Wow.
anything can really happen. And they really just stuck to what they had to do and how to compete and come out with the W. And when they won that match, it was just like, wow, like they did it. So that was a really proud moment. Like throughout the whole years, like the guys have been great and it's been a great team. But that was great to see them, and they've afterwards they took some pictures, and like the first team qualified as super regionals. So it's been a while since any Hofstra member made it. So really proud of them. So that I can definitely say that's a great memory for me.
Wow. Not many people get to experience super regionals, qualify for it. It's such an accomplishment. That's incredible.
Thank
Wow.
you. We also had it recorded, like the last point.
Wow.
And I can go back in my head and just see the moment. I remember like giving a pump fist. There was maybe like a tear or two shed at the end, because I was honestly just
Maybe.
proud of them.
Yeah.
Like they overcame so much, and I couldn't have been more prouder than those two.
You have many coaching tips, the insider scoop as a player, a competitor yourself. What is your favorite piece of advice to give to a young athlete?
For any young athlete, whether juniors, college, or just starting out, is to it sounds cliche, but to never give up. It really determines like how you are as a champion. And was always told that champions will fail, but they learn from those failures and they get better. And I've learned that through my parents, where both my parents helped coach me when I was juniors. I had great coaches from Court Sense that has been just truly inspirational for me as a player and as a coach. And one last thing would be to never leave any regrets. So whether it's practice, your matches, you go out there, you give your 100%. Sometimes it's 50%, but you leave it all out there on the court.
I'll second that last part, giving it all out there, just leaving it all on the court. When the brief period that I coached as well, that's one of my favorite things, especially knowing that some players aren't going to be playing their entire life, making it to college and thereafter. So to just making sure that they're living in the moment, doing the best that they can, and really enjoying the experience and not regretting anything that could have happened. So I second that. There's plenty more tips that you have to share. I'll make sure that everyone is following you and Hofstra University. If you're looking for an excuse to go watch live tennis, meet Arielle in person, because you should. She's incredible. The link will be down in the description for the Hofstra schedule coming up this year. And we will see you back very shortly for the first grand smash of the season as we are heading into the Australian Open.
Back to you, Leah.
Thank you, Leah. We will see both Arielle and field reporter Leah yet again for the Grand Slam smash at the end of this episode. But now it is time to reveal how AI predicts AO. The final four on the men's side of the draw is Alcaraz versus Medvedev and Djokovic versus Sinner, with Sinner winning his third Australian Open title in a row over Carlos Alcaraz in the final. Boring. We have seen that road before, and will we probably get it again? Sure. But here's where the noteworthy slip-ups in ChatGPT's prediction really lie. ChatGPT sees Tommy Paul going up against Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, with Foki coming out on top over the American. We do know that Fokina is 0-4 against Paul, right? And they're playing on hard court? Sure, the winner of this match would inevitably lose to Alcaraz, but it's a matter of principle. The Tommy Paul principle, if you will. Farther down in the draw, ChatGPT has the audacity to see Dimitrov losing in the first round. No disrespect to Thomas Machach, or you know what, just Thomas. No disrespect at all to Thomas, who did actually win their only previous meeting on a hard court. But you can't root against Dimitrov in the first round. That's just... This inevitably leads me to talking about Stan the Man and how ChatGPT sees Wawrinka losing in the second round to Jiri Lehecka. Now, I'm not saying Wawrinka has what it takes to go all the way, especially with Fritz and Djokovic in his route to the final. Clearly, Lehecka's gonna fall to the same fate regardless. All I'm saying is it's moments like these where you realize the separation between betting with your heart and your brain, or in this case, computer algorithm. There's also the matter of Sebastian Baez making it to the third round over Pericard, Garin, and Darderi. Not to burst any Argentinian bubbles here, but he wouldn't be my pick out of the three. Now here's what ChatGPT predicts for the women's side of the draw. The final four will be Sabalenka versus Goff and Anisimova versus Swiatek. Grab your popcorn, people, am I right? But in the end, Swiatek comes out on top over Sabalenka to win her very first Australian Open title in the final. So let's just recap this final four happening real quick. Not only is Swiatek knocking out number one in the world Sabalenka, who's coming back to Australian Open with a vengeance after her near three-peat mishap last year, but also taking out Amanda Anisimova, whose three-time matchups last year had the entire tennis world in a chokehold. I'm not rooting for Iga to win her very first Australian Open title here, but something tells me that Anisimova won't let this ChatGPT prediction happen all that easily. Rewinding a tad in this bracket here, I'm 50-50 on Goff making it past Andreeva. I genuinely think this match is going to be a toss-up, and that the only guarantee here is my phone's going to be on Do Not Disturb, and I'm gonna have a bucket of popcorn in hand. I feel the same way about this Muhova-Navarro matchup in the third round. I'd love for Muhova to come out on top, but something tells me Navarro's gonna sneak her way into an All-American fourth round battle. Now let's talk about how in the fourth round, ChatGPT sees Jess Pegula knocking out not only countrywoman, but defending champion Madison Keys, and how veteran Elise Mertens is taking out veteran mom Belinda Bencic. These are heartstring battles for any women's tennis fan, which is why I won't be picking sides here, but instead just grabbing another bucket of popcorn. I will just say, though, before moving on here, that ChatGPT seeing Jess Pegula coming out on top over Paula Badosa in the third round is the fattest bet to be placed where this leg is concerned. Now let's get to the juicy first round prediction that may have easily slipped under the radar had the name not been Williams, Venus. That's right, ChatGPT placed a hefty bet that Olga Danilovic would knock out the veteran wild card, and we all know how that one played out. Does this mean there's hope for the rest of the slam to fall as ChatGPT predicts it? Well, we'll be following along, folks, not just for the sake of journalism. I mean, I've committed to several buckets of popcorn here. Sounds like you're just gonna have to subscribe to Game Set Smash so you find out what happens next week when we follow along as this bracket progresses. Did it sound a tad threatening? Yes, but it came from a warm place. Now, while you're subscribing there and pressing that really good looking thumbs up there, and maybe even commenting your own predictions for how the Australian Open is gonna go down, let's tune into our musical guest of the week as some background noise to all of this happening.
Just enough time for a quick haircut before game 6. Okay, you don't see this very often, do you? But I guess if it's bugging you, that fringe, then...
See, I told you, he didn't trim enough to really notice a difference. Anyways, don't mind her. She's having a moment. Let it just happen. We just have to get through the upcoming tournaments of the week before finally tuning in to our first Grand Slam smash of the year. Now, of course, the only upcoming tournament is the very significant Australian Open that's happening. So it is very much that time to tune back in with field reporter Leah. It is now officially the time for our first Grand Smash of the year. And of course, this has to do with the Australian Open. So we will be blowing up, potentially lighting on fire, the Australian Open logo, which we have at the ready. Arielle, as our guest interview and Grand Smasher official, you get to decide the weapons or destroyers of choice. Tell us, what is calling out to you?
All right, there's some really good options, but I think I'm going to go with the hammer and the blowtorch.
I like how you think. Safety first as always. Let's grab our safety goggles. We have safety guys at the ready, but for now, let's blow up the Australian Open logo. Thanks so much for tuning into Game Set Smash this week. I'll see you right back here next Monday as we continue following along the Australian Open. For now, here's your bad bet of the week.